Good Tuesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel, conversations and other good things. Look at that Ram truck. She's back, and wife's driving the 4Runner again. She's been driving that Ranger over there. She just loves that Tremor Ranger. I like that. The truck really just looks good factory. It's always hard to buy a vehicle and then not want to modify it. Like, look at that truck right there. Would that truck look good factory? Look at the tag. It's dead. Hey, look at the dirt in the hitch. Oh, I backed it up to unload my Harley yesterday, or the kids' Harley. Yeah, so it's the state of the truck this morning. It was showing engine code last night, but it's nothing. It's just baloney, malarkey stuff. So nothing radical on that. But what's the state of the vehicle today with my daughter driving it? Yeah, so you're hearing the state of the channel today. The state of the times? I think it is. That's what I'm thinking. It's pretty incredible. It's not really that much colder here than it was in Florida. And it's really just an incredibly mild winter so far for us, for the most part. We did have a cold spell. But, hey, come on back here. Here we go. See, this is the routine now and up north. Come on back. Ginger. Ginger, come on, get a barn. Yeah, getting all the vehicles organized here, and come on, get in the barn, So yeah, I mean, just a mild winter, even though I swear I said we're just having a brutally cold, wet winter. You know, wet and snowy, icy. Who knows? Winter's just isn't over by any means yet. I'll be eating my words in that over there. Getting a lot of responses on the 6 miles per gallon Braptor. How about that? I got to unhook it. Hey, tell you what, if you're following my channel, I've thought to myself this morning, well, if I would have brought back 2 more motorcycles, where'd I even put them? I don't even know where I'd put them. I mean, thought starting pulling other things out of the garage. It's just too much stuff, right? I mean, just stuff everywhere. So in all reality, they're better off still. I'm sincere. Where would I put this stuff, right? At times, for me and manage my addictions. Oh, yeah. I mean, sell that motorcycle there. I need to sell that motorcycle. I mean, I need to sell like 4 motorcycles. That's really the plan. But at this time of year, you're not getting a lot of people excited about riding motorcycles this time of year. That's the reality. Yeah, blame them. All right, we get the morning going here. Back to routine. Pretty hard. I was down in Florida for 5 weeks. Doing my YouTube channel video down there. It kind of worked out okay. You got to see the antics of my dad and my daughter on a regular. Yeah, let's get the show going. Come on, pups, and get up here and everybody get on duty. Ah, man, I want to turn something off. I totally forgot to turn off a heater, but it just doesn't end. But I need the heat on in here. Let's see if we can get that on. We did. Where is everybody? Okay, there we are. Dark up here. Overcast day. I barely drank any coffee yet. Got to get the coffee to get my other heater going. Got to turn it all on. If that heater over there, I'd turn that thing on, but it doesn't. That's expensive. Well, it's so expensive. I mean, I'm not lying. $700 monthly bill. Yep. I'm not lying. Anybody, you know, I got property here. Got a big barn and just the old farmhouse, and you know, what's the state of that? Of my farmhouse, of being the most insulated? Not so much. Yeah. So, anyways, I just thought to myself this morning, what are we talking about this morning? I say it all the time. I get up in the morning, what are we going to talk about? I don't know. I just think to myself, what can we talk about? But let's check out the who's present, who isn't, right? And coffee's hot, man. Even walking across the property. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I haven't even looked at my let's see what's going on in the world, right? Economic Forum over there in Davos or whatever, Switzerland. And we following that. On that, let me see here. Let me get my little YouTube TV thing going here and see if I can get my morning business with what's that, Maria, whatever her name is, and see what's going on. But anyways, so the World Economic Forum has all the big players over there strategizing, I guess, on how to control us even more. Is that kind of, let me get my, I know my finger is in the way, sorry about that, but trying to kind of get things here in order and kind of tone that down. So, yeah. So, anyways, they're over there in, it's a Davos, Switzerland. How do you pronounce that? State of the world economy. That's basically the conversation, and a lot of people are saying that it's just gloom and doom more than ever. And the reason I thought the state of times today was I read a few different articles early this morning, but Elon Musk has changed the bio to Twitter to state affiliated media. Yeah, Elon Musk just changed his bio for Twitter to mean state affiliated media, which if you look at the definition of state affiliated media, it's a state controlled, media. That's controlled by the politicians and the moneymonger guys, the people who have all the money. So Elon Musk truly feels that Twitter really is a state-controlled social platform. Wow. I mean, I'm just so intrigued. I've said it a gazillion times. I've been so intrigued to watch Elon Musk buy up Twitter and see what he's going to do with that, what he's doing. And I mean, he is so telling the way it is. I mean, just incredible. And so we'll kind of keep the car theme. How about we'll kind of keep the car theme, kind of get the morning conversation going without being all becoming political. But, I mean, if anybody doesn't want to accept it, the politics are running the country more than ever. Corruption of politics more than ever. Boy, I tell you what, you're oblivious to reality, sadly. So, so one article I read about this morning, which I've talked about this for so many years because I worked in the oil industry. I used to work in the oil industry, and I used to have to price fuel and had to price it differently for road fuel, off-road fuel, heating oil. So I've always have known about the road taxes that you pay on fuel. People don't know. Most are oblivious to it because it's not really anything that radical, but states collect like 18.2 cents per gallon on road and gasoline, and they collect like 24.2 cents on their on the diesel, I believe. So the states rely on this gasoline sales to help repair the roads, especially go towards schools, I think too. But the conversation is the state of the times is the states see that the future of the gasoline taxes being collected is going to diminish because of the transition to electric vehicles. So now there's like 17 states that already are put into place the plans on how they're start collecting the lost gas state taxes. And so anyways, the states like Virginia, to me, it's pretty lame, really. But for Virginia, right now, if you have an electric vehicle, you're going to pay $20 more per year to register the car. That's just kind of the first phase. But there's other states, and even including Virginia, that are putting devices in people's cars that are willing to volunteer to do it to track their mileage to start getting an idea of how the states could start charging you for paying by the mile. But they say in Virginia, they're factoring 11,200 miles as the average miles driven for the average individual in the state of Virginia, which I think that's kind of low, but I guess that's it. They're claiming that if you're below that threshold, you actually can maybe get a credit so that you get rewarded for not driving as much. Yeah, I've talked about this. What's the underlying goal of governing bodies is to get you off the roads, right? And for you to just do everything from home. Who hasn't heard these thoughts and ideas? So right now, the state of times is this country is seeing that the transition, and actually they talk too about how the ICE vehicles are becoming so much more fuel efficient that they're losing the tax revenue as well because less fuel is being purchased. So the change of times is here because the states are seeing that they're going to have to start charging you some other way to recoup the road taxes. But I've talked about this for over 10 plus years. I'm not embellishing, probably 15 or 20 years. That as time progresses, there's no doubt in my mind they're going to go to you pay by the mile, and that's kind of what they're really thinking about. And that's why I want to put this trackability thing. But people are very concerned about that. They're being tracked but I think it's beyond believable. So a person's like, well, if I put this device in my car and now they can actually see where I drive, I'm like, do you carry your cell phone with you? Yeah, I do. Have you turned off the location services? What's that? You know what I mean? Or have you turned off the black box in your car? Well, how do I do that? I mean, you don't think have you ever noticed that your car kind of knows where you're going? I mean, there's so many things that are tracking you. So for the people, I guess all the drug dealers aren't happy about it. I guess all the child molesters aren't happy about it. I guess the husbands or wives cheating on their spouse, they're not happy about it because their cars can tell everybody where they went. I guess I don't know, but anyways, good luck. You're being tracked all day long, everybody. So to be paranoid about your car, have a little thing inside of it. It already has one inside of it. If you have a newer car, just for your information. But I've always said the easier way to do it is just to have it when you recharge your car, you're going to get a bill. That's all. That's all it is. You plug your car in. You'll have a little device you have to plug your car into that charges you by the kilowatt that equals to a miles factor of how much you're charged. So yeah, so the free ride for the EV guys, it's still happening, but it's not free. I mean, I really think that people think that owning an electric vehicle becomes free. I mean, you have no idea. When I drove around electric vehicles, I'd run into people that thought that these charging stations at these gas stations or public parking lots or, wherever that you could charge your car for free. But I hear stories when I was hanging out in the Mach-E forum. You'd hear stories of these guys that they would totally abuse whatever they could just to get free electricity, where they would go to work and they'd literally park their car across the street at some like apartment complex or some library or whatever it is, and they park their car there half the day to be able to charge their card for free. That's how desperate they are. They don't want to go home and pay 8 cents a kilowatt or 10 cents a kilowatt and spend, $5 to get home to recharge their car. These are people who probably drive, 30 miles. You know what I mean? This is the guy that's, comes into the office, we know. I'm not going to get too harsh here. So anyways, yeah, let's not get too personal there. So Elon Musk, it's just all about Elon Musk. Here's Elon Musk. Now he's getting sued in San Francisco for, in 14, 15, 16, I don't even know the exact year, that he spoke of taking Tesla private. And investors got caught up in the moment, and they, I guess, bought a lot of stock or something, and they got burned. So they're suing Elon Musk for disclosing, so when you're anybody that's a stock trader or stock person, and I'm not that person, but my understanding is from growing up with my father and him working for public companies is, boy, if you're an executive and you disclose any information that can have important information to maybe sway the stock, that's borderline criminal activity. I mean, where did Martha Stewart go to jail for? Because she got insider trader information. When's Nancy Pelosi going to jail? All these politicians, Adam Schiff, biggest liar. I mean, they all lie. But Adam Schiff, that guy takes the cake for frickin' just the Russian thing. Do you ever remember him just sitting there talking about he had absolutely, positively every guaranteed grain of salt evidence of having information on the Russiagate? I mean, does anybody remember this conversation? We just, people, and these people know you just forget about it. They just start lying to you again, and they get away with it another day. But the whole point is, insider trading, it's a huge thing. Martha Stewart paid dearly. I don't think you ever see the politicians pay dearly. Remember, did you realize that the politicians get insider information to buy stock? Did you know that? Yeah, go look it up. You think I'm making this stuff up? And everybody wonders why politicians are wealthier than wealthy, because they get to talk to companies where they know they're going to get inside buying options to buy stock that's going to possibly go from $10 to $100 a share. I mean, it's just beyond unbelievable. The society we live in, and the politicians we fight over to put in power, where we get mad at each other, right? Yikes. Okay, don't get too deep in this political stuff. Going too far already, man. Too fast. Yeah, so for Elon, his Tesla company, where he was wanting to bundle it all into one or something. I don't know. He was wanting to go to private because some Saudi Arabia guy was wanting to put a bunch of money in or something. So, but Elon feels that it's a San Francisco-based jury that he's going to get tarnished. He wanted to move the jury to somewhere else, maybe like Las Vegas, where he could give all the jurors money to go gamble every day. You get distracted from the real jury. I don't know. Who knows? But anyways, the judge rejected that. Said, nope, you're going to have it right here, right here. So apparently, like today, they start the case. I mean, Elon's in a bunch of. I mean, when you're a high-profile guy, if you're a politician, you're a leader of a big business, you're going to be probably in lawsuits. You're going to be in court. It's just all part of the business, because you're so exposed to so many things. So, whatever. For Elon, I've never been an Elon guy, but I do have to say, I am really enjoying the whole Twitter thing. I really am. And because he really is. Even people on Twitter making comments. Wow. Wow. You can actually talk what you want to say without the liberal media shutting you down and tarnishing you. So just go to Reddit. If you want to get tarnished, just go to Reddit and be a conservative and just tell everybody what you really think about Joe Biden and see how long you last on that platform. I heard that Serena Williams' husband owns Reddit. Is that correct? Wow. And then, we're kind of going political too much, right? I guess. I don't know. So for Tesla, they're explaining now why Elon Musk has had to cut the pricing and how he's accomplished that on his cars. And is Elon Musk, is his wealth declining every day now? I mean, is it declining? Is it staying stable? I don't even know. I'm not really even that far into it on that note. So, and then Wyoming is going to ban the sale of EVs by 2035. You got to love this stuff. So, yeah, it's a bill get passed. Apparently 7 to 9 Republicans have created a bill in Wyoming saying that Wyoming is a great state of the oil state, and it's the thriving industry that keeps everybody employed. And Wyoming is such a wide, vast land of more land than roads and houses and buildings that to have electric vehicles in Wyoming doesn't make any sense. And to plan an infrastructure of electric charging stations in just the rural areas is ridiculous. So they're saying by 2035, they're banning the sales of EVs. Yeah. Hey, there's a win for ICE. Why don't more ICE people like us start making these politicians start banning the sale of EVs? But just get X amount of people that want them, and then there you go. They all can be happy, and then they're happy. They so-called don't pollute the world as the locomotive diesel train pulls the coal cars up to the electric plant and fills up the electric plant with coal, and those happy electric vehicle people charge their cars of coal-powered plants, burning coal to fire up their EV vehicle. But hey, it's all cool. But hey, that's a pretty cool thing, right? We got a little traction here in life that people are seeing that, the EV. And so what they're saying also, so the Republicans are saying that the amount of mining material you're going to need for the real deal of electric vehicles really taking over, it's not even fathomable. I mean, it's like there is so much mining this world's going to have to do to try to make the world EV happy. Wow. It's just going to enrich China. I said this 10 plus years ago. All the EV movement will be a transfer of wealth from Saudi Arabia to China. That's all it's going to be. Speaking of China, wow. So Kevin McCarthy got really all support to create the Chinese committee, the special committee to oversight of the Chinese regime and what they're doing. I tell you what, if anybody really, even for myself, if you really look into what's going on in China, I mean, I've said it for years. Other people are, I'm sure, very cognizant of this. But the China thing, man, it's pretty bad. To think about, in 2001, they became part of the World Trade Organization. And China's global economy has grown by 10 times. China's actually on instead of a GDP, it's like PPPP, purchase price line, or PPL, purchase price line. China actually outdoes us. In GDP, they're second behind us, but in PPL, they're actually 18% stronger than us in their economic power. And China now has outdone our Navy, supposedly, of having more ships, I believe. So China's military is getting bigger. China, since 1949, has killed, it's estimates, you don't know, has killed 89 million of their own for the regime in power. And so there's this whole House Committee thing. The China House Committee is about how this country really needs to wake up even more than ever, understanding that China is totally on the total plan of taking us over. It's very sad that the younger generation's country are falling to the socialist regime rhetoric, and the China Communist Party, the CCP, is behind all the TikTok and behind all the brainwashing of the younger generation that is going to make them believe this country isn't worth sacrificing yourself for. It's going on as we speak. 1619 readings, the CRT, the lawless cities, the change of military where you say they or them. Even can't even say yes sir, yes ma'am. I guess they're going to start changing that. I mean, just beyond unbelievable, the brainwashing and the transition of what the Chinese are so hoping this country totally caves to be a very weak society. That's the goal, to overtake us. And there's no doubt in my mind that right now, where we are today's society, sadly, I would say by 2050 and plus, I'd have to say that the chance of China being here and then running this country is probably a pretty good chance of that happening. It must be like, oh, you're just radical. No, I'm not radical. I'm telling you the way it is. We're witnessing in front of us right now the change of the rhetoric by the minority to make the minority think that it's majority, and it's happening. Just look at the EV vehicles. Just look at transportation. Just look at what's happening through our country of the government assistance of trying to help so many others that they believe the government wants to help them, but in so many ways they're doing a disservice. Yesterday was Martin Luther King Day, and I just think it's so unfortunate that you get the hate, the race hate starts, and that isn't who I am in life. It's never been my, I have managed every color of person. I've hung out with every color of person. It's never been a challenge of color. It's been a challenge of their attitude. That's the only thing I've ever been my challenge in my life. I've met nasty people. I've actually even met the nastiest people in my life that are actually my color. So, believe it or not, I've had some pretty bad dealings with people of my color. So, I'm not a racist person, but at the same time, when I make comments, I can understand somebody could take it as a racist comment. But that isn't who I am, and that's not my channel. But what I am is trying to explain to others what I see, and I have no problem others reach out and saying, well, that's what you see, but that's not really correct. But for me, we had a two-term black president named Barack Obama. I remember watching Barack Obama when he was getting getting going to try to become president of the United States. He talked a good talk. He really talked about the little man, Joe the plumber. He really talked about Wall Street. He really talked about being transparent. He really talked all this language in his speeches to really, make you think, hey, this is a pretty good guy, and he really wants to try to help his country, not realizing really who he is. If you don't know who he is by now, then you're foolish, because sadly, he's still sadly, in my eyes, he's still in power. And some be like, well, yeah, what's sad about that? Well, it's because it's an agenda that he has driven into this country that we're witnessing right now more than ever. And does it seem like the race is getting better or worse? I mean, you go back to 2020, I should say 2020, the rioting, BLM, I mean, it was a huge division of race. I mean, huge. But yet we had a two-term black president. And what did he bring to the table? I mean, for me, and then you have now Joe Biden in office, which everybody says really it's just Obama in office in a white suit, right? I mean, that's why you kind of hear the Obama boy is Joe Biden. So I think to myself, yeah, and you have this guy here, and I think to myself, sadly, I mean, and here's the thing, this is not by any means being taken lightly in my life of others of harm. But can anybody tell me, since Obama came into power, or Joe Biden came into power, has the black community gotten better? Has the inner cities gotten better? Are black people being treated better? I mean, I don't know. I mean, once again, I'm out here. I mean, tell you what sounded comforting. On Twitter, I witnessed a video I saw it on Twitter last night, a whole group of black young people beating up this, like, Latino girl. I mean, just really bad. I mean, sadly, just really bad. This is on Twitter. This is public information. This isn't anything that I am here to call out anybody, but it just shows. So what's going on? I mean, wouldn't you think that things should be getting better and that we should all be more of a union together? I mean, what's driving us apart again? What is happening, right? Well, I think it's the Chinese Communist Party that is so wanting to see this country become so divided and us not be one, because it opens the door for them to take over this country. I really think that anybody doesn't think, I think most people are pretty astute in this world, would agree that the Chinese regime is here on our doorstep. Even the point they had the U.S.-China summit in Alaska I guess last summer or the year before, and Anthony Blinken, whatever his name is, the Secretary of Defense, whatever, I mean, whatever his position is, he met with the Chinese up there, and the Chinese representative looked at him and said, "You don't have the powers to tell us what to do, nor are we going to listen to what you basically." The message from the Chinese to our country was, you go pound sand. You're not going to tell us what we're going to do and ain't going to do, and you don't even have the power to do that anyways. Wow. So the relations with us and China are not at the best. But here's the thing that's talked about is the World Trade Organization opened the door in 2001 for China to become part of the world trade, and because people thought that handing money to China would make it more of a capitalist country and not so much a regime, a communist-run dictator type of country. And it's actually the opposite has happened. So the select few have enriched themselves, and the power of China has grown substantially, but the actual regime is controlling the people more than ever. So it's actually opposite of what many economics and thought and theories were, by letting China become more of a world nation of having monies and wealth created for its citizens, but more than ever, it's created into now what many see as this huge. I mean, why did Kevin McCarthy put this committee together? Because he sees and others see that this country is getting ready to be controlled by China in the future more than ever. They already do control us to a degree. I mean, everything's built in China just about. I mean, everything went overseas and all over the place. But I just saw the state of the times. What is the state of the times of our country? And to me, just by witnessing what I see, and you see in the social platforms, you just see more than ever the diversion, the focus. What's going on? It's as if we're all taking our focus off of what's best for the country and for the future of the country to what is best for myself and self-satisfaction for now, and who cares about the future of what's going to happen in our country. I mean, it's going on more so than ever. And then also the state of times of Elon Musk, totally. I mean, the Twitter thing definitely has exposed how the Democratic Party and actually employees of Twitter deliberately did things to misguide people and information. On the information age, more than ever, is you can't trust it. But that's what Elon Musk is saying. He's point blank saying that he's a state-affiliated media. The Twitter was run by the state and by the politicians and by special individuals that were, Another thing that Elon Musk says also is the journalists have caved to protect the governing bodies and protect the citizens. And that's why he kicked a bunch of journalists off of Twitter very early, was because he saw on how the state-run agencies, basically, journalists were taking side with the governing bodies. It's so interesting how AOC and all these other politicians, Adam Schiff, all these others, where are they? Where are they? Where I so believe that they had the bots. AOC for sure. I think AOC had millions of bots. What's happened to her? I mean, to me, she's a dangerous individual. She's one of these people that'll just slither her way into getting into power in politics and just preaches such radical, ridiculous things. I don't think the woman's ever worked a day in her life. I think she just sits in her house every day and just, runs her mouth. And she has, I'm sure, huge money behind her. George Soros, I'm sure, is behind her. Is Barack Obama behind her? I don't know. I mean, so, for me, it gets political on my channel, but here's the thing. That's what their goal is. The liberal media wants me to shut the hell up. The liberal media wants you to shut the hell up. And that's why the EV agenda is advancing at its greatest pace ever, is because the governing bodies have convinced automotive manufacturers to cave to their policies. I mean, the governing bodies are saying right now that the only answer for transportation is electric vehicles. That was just discussed the other day. The governing body's like, no, electric vehicles is the only way it's going to happen. We're not going back to any other alternative way of energy. Electric vehicles is the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be. Right. Wow. So, I mean, once again, the idea is for somebody to slander you as an individual that talks common sense that you just won't say much. And it goes on. It goes on in forums that go to social platforms where people take people's conversations and they try to use it against them to try to make them look like they're the loony one. But with the loony one, it's a person that's promoting information that they're so caught up in their own world that they're reading information that was controlled by politicians and select individuals of a social platform to make them believe what is true is true. It'd be unbelievable. And then here's Joe Biden that has classified documents that's like, here, let me just take my file here and just throw it up with the wind and whoop-de-doo-dah. Who cares? No, I mean, I have no idea what the governing policies are. So no, Joe Biden has no documentation of who comes to his house. I mean, and I guess the easiest way out of the answer, well, he wasn't in power at that time, so why would it matter? So that's all that answer to me. In 2017, hey, he had classified documents, but he wasn't in power, so why would he have to have critical information that comes to his house? Well, then why are they going after Donald Trump's house? He's not in power anymore. Why'd they have to go to his house? Well, can you answer that question? Well, of course you answer that question, because I hate Donald Trump. That's why. I mean, just tell it. Not only just tell it the way it is. We hate Donald Trump so much, we'll do anything at any cost and any time of the day to ruin that guy. That's who that's all about. They're talking. One guy was making a comment on Twitter this morning that says that Donald Trump went to the Davos, Switzerland. And he said he told everybody F off. I mean, one thing is sure, Donald Trump, I might hear, I kind of go after him a lot. I mean, I give the guy credit for the policies this country wanted to get, but at the same time, his challenge is not mouthing off, which that's the liberal media. He played right to liberal media's tune, which to me is like, man, just quit talking. Like me, just quit talking. All right, what we learned today? The state of times? Yeah, what are the state of times? Should we be very concerned? I think we should be. I mean, I think you're foolish if you're the person who says, who cares, whatever. Exactly. Right. Do you know what's going on in your schools today? Do you actually know? Yeah, it's not great. So anyways, and it's good too. Not going to take it wrong. So let me wrap it up with that. Another YouTube video off the tip of my tongue. Ideas, views, what came from it, right? So everybody, stay tuned. What's next? I don't know. What's the adventure? I can't tell you. Too much going on. Got to get to work. So stay safe. Stay tuned.